Welcome to Yankees Unloaded. I'm your host, Gary Sheffield Jr. With me is Jake Ellenbogen. We're going to break down what happened today, the 35-year-old Tomoyuki Sugano, the guy that, Jake, we said we were going to be making a ton of contact. We didn't. We made him look like Kerry Wood today. But first, I want to make an announcement. We've got a sponsorship. We've got partnership with Profit X. Super cool. Very excited. Jake, I know you're excited as well. They've got a pretty cool promotion. Yeah. We'll break it down at the end of the show. But right now, you earn 1.5% cash back up to $200 back for the first 30 days. You'd use our code at the top, YanksU, when you do sign up. Let us know your picks. We may throw them up on screen and talk about them. But Jake, how we feeling? Because I know we wanted to talk Jazz. I wanted to get right into it. People are not happy with these at-bats. I think he looks really good in the field. I'll give him that.
Yeah, it was a great.
But what are you seeing at the plate? Because you were texting me before the game, during the game, in general, that Jazz doesn't look close to putting the ball in play. Hey, what are we talking about here? What are you seeing?
I love Jazz, but if you've ever played MLB The Show before, there's a certain animation that when you miss it, it just looks like not even real. Like you're like, I can't even believe he's not even close to the baseball, Gary. He's not even close. I know I'm not, going up against major league pitching, so I don't want to act like I would do better because that's not what I'm saying. But it's frustrating because this is a player that not long ago was hitting 284 in a Yankee uniform, right? He was looking like
that's right.
This was his breakout season. It still can be. It really can, Gary. It could just be a bad start. I mean, like we're talking about, with Trent Bonds over there. I mean, there's no reason to think that Jazz couldn't turn it around and maybe, Trent Grisham falls off a cliff. I mean, that's certainly possible. But right now, it's 2025. It is April 28th. And the Yankees would rather have Trent Grisham at the plate in a must-win game, in a must-win opportunity, than Jazz Chisholm Jr. And that is not something at all I thought I would ever say. Because last year, Jazz got off to a great start. Then Jazz got hurt. This team really missed him. He came back. He struggled a little bit. But, Gary, it was never like this. This is just bad mechanics at the plate. I think he's just totally dismissed everything that he is as a hitter. Every time he is up at the plate, he's trying to swing for the fences. I don't get it, Gary. And when you hear an announcer say, and he waves at the pitch, that's what they're talking about. It's like a garden hose.
Yeah, waving is an adjective. Yeah,
he's not close. So
yeah, I would agree. Okay. I just think Jazz has this marriage going on with being a power hitter. And obviously, our broadcast, and we're huge fans of the Yes broadcast, and I always have positive things to say. And they always discuss, and Michael K talks about it all the time, you see the natural power off the bat of Jazz Chisholm, right? He finally does make contact. You see what it looks like. Easy pop, right?
Absolutely.
But my thing is that Jazz Chisholm is just far too athletic and too gifted as a baseball player to buy into this mentality as a hitter. And surely, if you ask Jazz, hey, what is it that you're trying to do out there? Because I can promise you our entire chat would say it seems like he's trying to take lift off. He has one approach. He's trying to go into the right field seats. If he doesn't do that, he's not making an impact on the day. Defensively, he's very good. I've got no problem. So he would probably tell us, oh, no, I'm trying to do all things. I would go the other way if I had to, right? I would go to center field if I had to. But then you look at the spray chart, and it tells you a different story, right? It tells you a player that's consistently off balance. Jake, you described it as waving, okay? And he waves at the pitch. That implies that you're early. You're trying to pull the baseball. There's nothing wrong with pulling the ball. Pulling the baseball, there's a reason that the right field is over there. You can hit it there, but you can't hit it there every single time. And that's what we're saying. You can't pull the ball in the air every single time. And when you do, your floor looks like this. You can show up in our game plan today. We talked about the pitcher who had an 8% strikeout rate. Actually the lowest in Major League Baseball. There's not one pitcher who had thrown more than 30 innings this year who strikes out less hitters than this guy. And we showed up and just made him look like Curt Schilling, which, by the way, he had about 10 different pitches working today, so I don't want to get too hard on the Yankees hitters. But at the same time, guys, when you show up your first at-bat and it looks oddly, strikingly similar to your second and your third at-bat, that's what raises concern to me. And it's some of the usual suspects. And I will say Austin Wells, right, solid at-bat later in the game. We did see some adjustments from some other guys. But the topic here is Jazz Chisholm. Jazz Chisholm's at-bats look scarily similar in the first inning as they do in the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh inning. They all look identical. And that's not a good thing, especially when you're talking about looking up and a player's hitting a $170. So Jazz Chisholm right now, far too streaky, far too committed to being a power hitter. He shouldn't be a power hitter. As far as I'm concerned, I know he's got power, but that should be a compliment to your game. You've got pop. But for that to be the main feature, the main entree of your dish, that's not working for me.
No, it's not working for me either. That's not why the Yankees got him. If they say it is, that's just not true, right? They got him because he had about a 320 to 340 on-base percentage.
That's right.
A guy that has some slugging, had 30 home run potential, but could steal bases, hit in the gap, really threaten on the base paths, and then be a really athletic fielder, which we saw today. But the thing to me, Gary, you said it best. I mean, when you're struggling at the plate, that day has now become a journey. You need to learn. You need to learn from your at-bats. You need to slowly but surely build yourself up. It's why it's baseball. I mean, baseball, essentially, you're a great hitter. You're one of the greatest hitters of all time. If, for a career, you get on base 3 out of 10 times. You hit 3 out of 10 times. So Jazz isn't barely even doing 2 out of 10. He's not even doing 2 out of 10. So that's where we're at right now. And the problem is, and to me, this is on Aaron Boone, he should be at the bottom of the lineup. It should be at the bottom of the lineup. There's no reason he should have been up there, after Goldschmidt. It's insane. So honestly, there's nobody struggling worse than him right now. And I like Jazz a lot, and I think it will turn around. But Gary, 173 batting average.
Cody Bellinger might be giving it a close run. At least Cody Bellinger is giving us quality outs, which is why I would never put him in the conversation with Jazz, because I agree with you.
Yeah,
Jazz Chisholm's far and away.
The ball in play. Like, I mean, he's not even fouling, Gary. He's just going up there and whiffing 3 times and then heading back to the bench.
Yeah, like you ever play MLB The Show and someone's new to playing the game?
Yes.
Right? And they're like, oh, no, I love baseball. I think I would enjoy playing the show, and you've played the show before, and you know what it looks like when someone's new to this game. They don't hit well. That's like the last skill to show up for MLB The Show players. So, Jazz, to your point, is far and away our worst player offensively. Defensively, he has incredible value. We're much better at second base. The Yes broadcast brought up how much better our defense is. I believe in terms of defensive run save, our unit as a team, we're third in all of Major League Baseball defensively. So it sort of goes to show you there's give and take with this player. He may be a downright barnyard explosion offensively, but defensively, yes, yesterday he made a huge critical mental mistake, and I brought that up on the show, and we've moved past it. But the glove, right, and the throws, you saw on the run, backhand, forehand, he's got it all. And I love this super chat from Brian. Brian, thank you so much for the 5. Says, when can we put blame on the hitting coach? God, I love this. I'm not a fan of Rowson. These hitters don't seem prepared. Lack of adjustments are troubling. Now, Brian, again, thank you so much. And I'm glad you bring this up. And I actually don't place any blame on the hitting coach, and I'm going to tell you why. If you let's look at a hitter that I want to pencil as someone who has a very good approach. We would describe him as the opposite, okay? He's like the damn antichrist of Jazz Chisholm right now. It is Paul Goldschmidt, right?
Yes.
How did Aaron Boone describe him 2 days ago? He said he is the best situational hitter on the damn team. That's what he said. It's exactly what he said. And here's the interesting part about that. He wasn't talking about hitting homers. He wasn't talking about hitting 380, which he's pretty much doing right now. He's now hitting 361. He wasn't talking about any of that. He was talking about his ability to read the situation in front of his face and then do what you will with that information. Are you playing me shifted to right field? Okay, I got to pull this ball. Is there a man at third base with less than 2 outs? Okay, the ball's got to be in the air. I'm laying off pitches low in the zone. I'm not looking at breaking balls down in the zone. I'm taking that pitch. That is situational hitting. Jazz Chisholm, on the other hand, refuses to make adjustments from at-bat to at-bat. Like I said weeks ago, you can look at a Jazz Chisholm at-bat. Not anyone in this chat would be able to tell me who was on base, what the situation was. You could simply not read what the situation was based on Jazz's swing. That is problem number one. And so my thing is, if Paul Goldschmidt can have enough nerve to understand the situation and just do it himself, shouldn't I be able to look at Jazz Chisholm and expect the same? To some degree, hitting coaches are about mechanics. You can't tell a player what his approach should be. You just need to have that yourself. And that's why, Brian, and I'm glad you brought it up in the Super, so again, thank you. I can't place the blame on a hitting coach because a player refuses to adapt to the situation.
Yeah, Gary, and I want to bring up, when you're talking about Paul Goldschmidt, I mean, I was actually going to bring this up before you brought him up, funny enough. Mm-hmm. Paul Goldschmidt has 1 home run. You don't think he would want 8, 9, 10? There's a reason why he has 1 home run. He's taking what the pitcher gives him. He's not trying to force. Not every home run, not every pitch you can even hit for a home run. It's not eligible unless you're Vladimir Guerrero, who hit it off the carpet. But you get the point, Gary. Like,
I did, yeah.
It's not every pitch is a home run pitch. And Jazz is trying to turn like a splitter, like moving away from the strike zone. And he's trying to turn on that and pull it into right field. And it's like, Jazz, that's in the other batter spot. That's not even a hittable pitch. And now you're trying to swing, uppercut it into the seats. And it's like, that's just not even hittable, let alone a home run pitch. So that's the thing. You had mentioned this. Regardless of what people want to say about Aaron Judge and so forth, they only hit the mistake pitches. Yeah, the best home runs, the best home run hitter in baseball, the best home run hitters in baseball hit mistake pitches that end up middle. And a lot of guys miss those, Gary. And Jazz is actually missing those, believe it or not.
Bad hitters miss it all the time. They miss it all day long. If you watch you watch a Cody Bellinger, I hate to pick on Cody Bellinger because I would love for him to join this podcast at some point this year. and mind you, you guys, you get the point.
Yeah.
Cody Bellinger took an at bat in the 9th inning today. Okay. Against Bautista.
Brutal.
He's obviously got a great fastball. He's got a great sinker and he's got a great splitter. That is very tough. And he's coming back from Tommy John. It didn't look like 100, but it was still 97, 98. It's hard. Okay. Now, Bautista falls behind in the count 3-0. So the Yankees give him the take sign. It's now 3-1. So what are we all looking for here in the 3-1 count? I think all of us would agree. It's going to be a fastball, right?
Yep.
It's going to be a fastball. He's
got to throw a strike.
He's got to throw a strike. It's going to be a fastball. What happens next? Cody Bellinger is miles late on a 3-1 heater, and it is almost caught down the third base line. And it wasn't. So now you're thinking, oh, okay, well, it's still 3-2. He's not going to walk the tying run on base. It's going to be another fastball. What comes? A fastball, and he is late. Okay?
Yeah, unacceptable.
Right. So, again, guys, this is about adjusting to the situation and just knowing, and baseball is really hard. This is the hardest sport in the world.
Yeah, of course.
Hitting the ball is hard. But when your process is off for a consistent period of time, I think we are justified in bringing that up. So I saw in the chat someone wanted us to talk about Cody Bellinger's at-bats and all that. And really, I don't even want to pick on Cody Bellinger per se. This is more about all of the hitters in our lineup specifically that are struggling. Don't they all struggle to make adjustments? Isn't that the difference between Paul Goldschmidt, who just 2 days ago went 0 for 5, and then he shows up the following day and he's got 3 knocks, right? It's just the day-to-day adjustment. And you say, okay, there's a clear way to go about this, and perhaps swinging at a splitter in a 2-0 count is just not going to be the right process for success. And that's where I think Jazz fails. Not his hitting coach, not anybody else in that locker room or dugout. I don't think it's their responsibility. I think in general, you just have to take ownership of what you're doing out there and just slow it down and think.
Yeah, I mean, that first at-bat Goldschmidt had, you were like, wow, he was late on that pitch. What was he doing? And then later on in the game, he ends up hitting a home run that gets robbed, you know. Still pissed. I'm still pissed about that. So him and Rice have been robbed.
The Yankees really are the Lakers, huh? It's just everyone's hitting half-court shots against them.
29 games and we've seen 2 home runs robbed. Like, what? You could go a whole season and not see that. And they've had 2 of their home runs robbed. And, I mean, let's be fair here. Ben Rice hit it in the short portion, right? Goldschmidt drove that thing all the way out to center. Like, he hit that like 400 feet. That sucks.
So, yeah, it was a bummer. So we have a super chat here from Ed W. Literally just popped in. Ed W. says, this is interesting. So, Ed, thank you so much for the 10 supporting this channel. We really appreciate you. Says, it's about professionalism. Interesting. Your craft, there's so much about Jazz that needs to be reined in. That part's already interesting in itself. We'll sort of break that down. He says, we get on Rodon for being too emotional, but not enough on Jazz for being too long on antics and not acting a professional. So it's almost the opposite of Rodon, right? Rodon gets so hyped up when something's not working. He clearly cares. This isn't anything about that. And it's not that Jazz doesn't care, but it's almost like Jazz doesn't have emphasis on how important the adjustment is in the now. He just thinks that, well, if I do make contact, aren't you going to clap for me when I do it? Well, yeah, but we're talking about how often it occurs. And right now, Jazz Chisholm's positive play is just not often enough to make a positive impact offensively for this team. Just not. Are we going to win games if Jazz runs into one and hits homers? Yeah, we probably are going to win because the other guys are hitting too. But most days, Jazz Chisholm is kind of an out. He's hitting 170 for a reason. That's not very often. So, yeah, I don't know if it's about professionalism or not, but I would almost think that when Aaron Boone Jake brought in this player, he was like, be yourself. You don't always have to be 100% yourself. Sometimes leadership and Judge, right? Boone, leadership can also hone in your skills and make you better. I don't know if we're doing that as of now.
No, I mean, the last 15 games, he's hitting 196. He has a 747 OPS. I mean, really, I think with Jazz right now, he's just got to go back to what he's known for. And what he's known for is a line drive hitter, hits in the gap. He's going to steal second base if he doesn't get there on that hit. And then he could steal third. And then he's going to create a problem. Now the pitcher is going to have him in his mind the whole time he's on the mound. And that's what a speed demon on the base paths does. Because now that pitcher needs to somehow tune out that the runner is on there. He's on third or he's on second. That's why it's so important to get base runners. You wonder why certain pitchers really struggle in high leverage? Because it's all mental. It's all mental. So, like, when they have 3 guys on base or 2 guys on base, now they're thinking. I mean, that's chaotic. That is distracting. You think it's not distracting? As I can tell you right now, it was distracting for me. As a right-handed pitcher, seeing a guy on third, that's distracting right before I throw, or having to look back at second, or having to keep the guy honest at first when it's literally behind my back.
Something to think about other than, is this guy going to hit a bomb, right?
Exactly.
Hitting home runs is the best thing technically you can do in baseball. But if you don't pose any threat to do something else, it just makes their job a little bit easier. And I think Jazz is a huge weapon for the Yankees if he's used properly. And right now he's just not really doing that. And Jordan Richard with the super, and I want to use this opportunity to sort of transfer into the actual game itself, and we'll dive into that briefly. But Jordan, thank you, says Devin's changeup looked like last year. He did pitch there at the end. If we took the lead in the 9th, do you think Boone gives him the 9th? No.
No, I
no.
don't.
No, I don't. I think in general, the
Cruz
situation he
actually
came in.
come out if
Yeah.
if Weaver
love
wasn't
that.
good to go tonight. I don't know.
Right.
We'll never know, which is good because you don't want to show your hand if you don't have to for tomorrow.
Yeah, that'd be ugly, right? Could you imagine
Yeah.
if we take the lead? He's like, you know what? You look good, Nath. Why don't you go out for the ninth? And he comes out there and blows the game. Dude, they'd have to send a stretcher out for him. At that point, it would be so ugly.
He would have a heart
Yeah.
attack.
And by the way, there were some in our chat, and I disagreed. But I'm going to give them credit. I always yield when I'm wrong. People ask, is Devin Williams going to be used in a situation that's considered not garbage time, but a very unimportant situation in the game? And I said, I can't see Aaron Boone putting him in a situation. And I know Boone would come in and say, well, technically it was important, right? You want to keep the game close. And then you saw we were within one run of winning today's game. So it's important. And I would agree. But when he came in, that's not the type of situation you ever thought Devin Williams would come into a game. So he did. So bravo to our chat. You guys were on it. And I want to transfer that into the conversation because it was Warren and Sugano, okay? And the matchup, and we talked about this, was that we're going to see a lot of contact today. You remember me saying that?
Oh, yeah.
Good grief. That was just totally off. I mean, we struck out 8 times in the first 5 full innings of baseball. We had 5 hits. We got our hits. But, man, we were swing and miss all day today against arguably, well, actually, it's not arguably, it's statistically the easiest pitcher in the game to put the ball in play. That's what the numbers say. So that didn't mean a damn thing. And then, obviously, Will Warren. Oh, Caleb Farmer says, just don't tell him what inning it is and change the scoreboard at home.
Oh, my God. I love it.
Hey, I don't know about that. We brought him into a 4-run lead, and he blew that.
Well, you could just say that it's a 16-run lead on the scoreboard.
I wouldn't put him past him.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. No, so Will Warren, we got to have a conversation about him because there's some things I really like about him, right? And we talked about it, right? I mean, that was a big moment in the game, once again, and he seems to be getting himself into trouble early on in games, but he got himself out of it in that first inning. And those 2 strikeouts back to back were huge. He's got some disgusting stuff. The problem is the Orioles are more of a patient group of hitters. And so when he's missing, oh man, they'll just hold it like this. They're not taking their bat off their shoulder. And that was what I really found to be the issue, and that is the issue with Will Warren. It's not that his stuff isn't good enough. It's missing bats, no doubt about it. Except for that slider that just got crushed into the wherever the hell that went. But aside from that, Gary, I'm seeing a guy that is confident, believes in his stuff. He doesn't have command of it yet. And that comes, over time. It does. He's still young. But, man, it really put the Yankees in a tough spot. Now, 4 runs, the bullpen, also Yarborough was phenomenal. That's one of the best bullpen outings I think I've seen, period. 3 2/3. Do you know how much he picked up the Yankees today? I mean, it's a constant with this bullpen, man. I mean, aside from Devin Williams, although he was good today.
It's part of the reason why when you look at halfway through the year, or even you're talking about in October, when you look at guys and you say, man, all their relievers have got ERAs in the low 2s. They seem to always find themselves in situations that are advantageous for them. Well, that's in large part due to some bridge guys. Sometimes you need to look at a guy like Yarborough and say, is he able to just bog down the game where we don't have to show up and throw Weaver, right, today? Can I keep those guys out of there? Maybe I can keep Cruz off the mound today. You know what happens if he doesn't pitch today the way he pitched? If it didn't even go this well, which was incredible, you see Cruz, right? You see those guys, and it just amplifies and just swells the opportunity that something bad can happen along the way, either injury or just poor performance, overuse. So the value on that is incredible. It had to be mentioned in today's show. We're going to talk about it briefly. It's great. And obviously, Devin Williams, what the Super was about, his changeup looked really good. You saw him ahead of counts. That's what's going to happen. You don't get ahead, that airbender is a fender bender, as you guys put it. It's not good. So, yeah, I was pretty happy. Warren has all the stuff, but this isn't a stuff contest, right? You can go buy a filet mignon over at the grocery store. If you don't know how to cook it, it's not going to be good. So, Will Warren, at some point or another, my assumption is that Matt Blake is going to hone this in, figure this out, alongside Will Warren. He's the pitcher. He's the one who has to go out there and do it. My expectation is he does. It's just going to take time. How long that takes, Jake, I have no idea.
Yeah, it's going to take some time, but I do think that there were some good things, and that's why I wanted to make sure of that. Unfortunately, you give up 4 runs. Gary, I thought the game was over right then and there. Even though I trust this offense, it just didn't feel like that type of day. And you know when I thought the game was over, actually? It was before he even took the mound. When they didn't score with the bases loaded, I was like, okay. I just had
you talking about with Volpe up there?
Yeah. And I didn't even feel like his approach was that bad or anything like that. It's just he was up with 2 outs, But
yeah.
That's what I'll say there. So is it thank you or tie?
I was trying to figure that out. I'm going to assume it's thank you. So Yankees for the win with the super. Thank you for the 5. Says
thank you with Cody. That makes sense.
Thank you with Cody. 191, 2 homers, 13 RBI in the season. I asked you to bring it up because he's leaving Judge on base. Do you think he should stay third in the lineup? Again, thank you for the super. This is more so about righty, lefty. And I understand a lot of folks that watch our show, and we tend to be more in the details. You say, well, that's important, but how important, right? If a guy's not performing, did it matter if he was lefty? Like, it didn't really matter. And you saw it towards the end of this game. You saw them bring in a left-handed arm. You ended up seeing Wells, right, against a lefty. He still had a double, which is good. Volpe had himself a knock. But you saw a lot of situations, right? Dominguez come up right-handed. The Yankees were behind the 8 ball multiple times in consecutive at-bats. That's not a good thing, okay? And sometimes, like at some point or another, you need to put the hot hitters towards the top of the lineup. And the guys who are not performing, maybe you don't go, all right, you're hitting third, you're hitting 191, I'll hit you 8th. But 6th, 7th in the time being, and just manage the damage, right? Exactly what we're doing with Devin Williams. You leave him in there, but not with the current role he has so that you can promote him later while they're hitting.
What I don't understand, Gary, is we're talking once again about a lineup that didn't have Ben Rice in it. And I just don't get it. I don't get why he was pinch hit. My mom texted me. She was not happy. Not pinch. He's pinch hit for, and then we don't see him today. What is happening? Why is this happening? Yeah, your offense, I don't know who needs to tell Boone, but your offense isn't consistent enough from top to bottom to take Rice out of the lineup ever. Like, I just, right now, Grisham leading off, he had a good day, right? He had good at-bats. He smoked that single was the hardest hit ball of the day, right? So Grisham looks good. Then you got Aaron Judge. I hate Aaron Judge batting second, by the way. Hate it. I absolutely hate it. So
it looks off, yeah.
You get him another at bat, but it's like, all right. So what ends up happening is that Aaron Judge comes up and nobody's on.
It's honestly funny to listen to. I agree with you.
You have the best hitter in baseball. He has a 405 batting average.
Yeah,
and he's not hitting third or cleanup.
Yeah, there's pros to having him hit 2, but there's more pros to having him hit third, in my opinion. Why? Yeah. Because you can cherry pick literally. Who in this lineup do you most trust to get a knock? Throw him 1-2, Aaron Judge third. Do I care who's hitting fourth? No, I do not. Why? Because I've seen Austin Wells hit fourth before, and Aaron Judge still hits. They still pitch to him. I don't know why, but they just do. So, again, guys, we watched Cody Bellinger protecting Aaron Judge for a while, and he's hitting $190, and yet Aaron Judge is still putting up numbers. It doesn't matter. Literally, me or Jake could be back there, and they don't care. They don't try and pick around him, and he just does damage. So, yeah, Jake, I completely agree with you, and I'm so glad. This is going to be our last super, and then we need to move on to the Profit X picks. But Ed W with the 5, thank you, Ed, says different views, situational pitching. Warren didn't attack the 2 players before O'Hearn. I'm so glad I see the name O'Hearn because I want to bring up something. I'm not going to say what he said, but we're going to bring it up. He said the O's hottest hitter. After the home run, Warren K'd 3 struggling hitters. Yeah. So what was so funny is that to some degree, you need to take
the hot mic.
Yes. Yeah.
Why is that ever being said? Why?
I don't know. So I'm going to touch on the point here, which is that you're completely right, Ed, but that goes back to confidence, which Michael K's brought up. If you've got real confidence in your stuff, you're just going to go right after guys. You know you've got the material. I've got the slider. I've got the sinker. I've got the 4-seam.
So why did that today?
Right, so why pick around? There's no reason to play with your food. Put them away. And he didn't do that, and he paid for it in the end. So that's part of where confidence comes in. But I want to get to the O'Hearn hot mic. So for those of you who didn't hear it,
I heard
they
that.
put the camera in the dugout, okay?
With that weird sucky straw thing that was going on.
Yeah, he told us to suck his macadamias right on live, okay? And it was hilarious. I know that the broadcast has to be like, we're so sorry that ever happened, and they're just so in depth to us, but that was funny. I always love when we give them too much access and it bites them. That was funny.
I was not ready for that. When do they show the opposing team's dugout? Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, they almost never do that, and they were so zoomed in on the Yes broadcast. They're like in the Orioles dugout, and then he says that, and I heard it immediately, like before Twitter had all those reposts and everything, and I'm like, okay, so what I heard, I am not losing it. Like I knew something. I thought that's what was said. I could not believe it. I was like,
oh, I heard it clear. I heard it. It echoed through
first
my
time.
house.
Yeah,
Dude,
it was so
It
loud.
echoed through my house. It was crazy. And Michael K handled it so brilliantly because you could just blow it off, but I knew he wouldn't. If you'd watch Michael K throughout COVID, that was like peak F-bomb cursing, just hot mic galore, because there were no stands. You could hear everything.
Yeah.
And Michael K always just had a good time with it because obviously he had to do it from like home and he's like watching it just from ridiculous angles. But that was funny, man. That was so funny. And yeah, I saw it in the chat. What the hell do you expect? You put a microphone in the dugout, which I cannot believe's got an actual mic to it. Just
like
ridiculous.
I said, I've never seen that before. Like I've seen ESPN baseball tonight or whatever. Like 8 p.m. Eastern time on a Sunday, primetime baseball. I've seen them mic up but I've never seen like the Yes broadcast mic up and show a camera in the other dugout. I've never seen that.
Yeah, I mean, the last time I remember it was like, Brett Gardner, right? And he's hitting the top of the dugout, and you got audio from that. You could hear him hitting the bat on the top of the dugout. So, yeah, you can't. I know people are like, oh, that's just not professional. You already know there's people on Twitter, I can't believe. Just have some professionalism. You put the mic in his face. It's not like he showed up post-game, and they're like, so, Ryan, what'd you think? He's like, suck my nuts. He didn't do that.
Yeah.
You literally, he's screaming at his teammates. He was pissed because he didn't get his pitch all day, and he finally got it. That's why. Yeah. And that was funny. Honestly, you don't normally enjoy that so much, especially when it's the other team just getting the best of you. But I enjoyed that. I thought it was good.
Honestly, on a bad night, that I kind of enjoyed that. I thought it was funny. Also, like let's not act like the NBA playoffs are going on. Do you see what they're saying? Come on now.
The NBA is the worst I've ever seen.
Like
it really is.
You cannot mic them up.
No.
And they do, and it always slips through. And they're like, sorry for the profanity. And we once again, what it reminded me of? It reminded me of when the Eagles won that first year. They won it was with Nick Foles.
Yeah.
And the local news covered the celebration.
Oh, the celebration in the locker room.
And they're like,
yeah.
Once again, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, sorry for the profanity. He just continues to, and they just kept saying it over and over again. So like,
why is our audience so soft? If you think about it, you watch UFC, right? I know you like to watch it. There are a lot of people who are fans of the UFC. And for me, it takes me back. They do the interviews and they're just dropping F-bombs and just freaking out all over the interviews.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute, this is normal? They're like, oh yeah, they just leave it unedited. We just listen to the interview live. I'm like, what? And it's so refreshing because it's really fake. You don't get the real, right? You don't get the real, how Aaron Judge really would be. You don't see what Paul Goldschmidt really would. You don't get to see how people really talk when you're covering them as this like celebrity athlete. So it's kind of cool to you pull back the hood and you see how they really speak. It's just so funny. And this last super says, Dear Boone, loading slumping hitters in the middle of the lineup has led to 215 left on base, only hole in the offense. Yeah, I don't think this is going to go away until like arguably Giancarlo Stanton comes back and if he's back to form, but I don't like to, he should be a 5 hitter with this roster. So I know you mentioned, Jake, that you think Dominguez should probably slide up to some degree. Maybe some guys who are hitting a $180 slide down. So I don't know.
And it's not one of those things that you can just look on paper and say, oh, yeah, Dominguez has a 239 batting average. I don't want him anywhere near the top. It doesn't work like that. Dominguez has a 330 on base percentage. Cody Bellinger has a 262. I don't want Cody Bellinger near the top right now. Okay. And I watch Jason Dominguez and his approach at the plate, as long as he's not batting right-handed, is so much better than almost all of these guys. I've never seen a young player this patient. Besides maybe Mike Trout when he was coming out. Mike Trout as a rookie had just incredible patience at the plate. That is like what I'm talking about. Like, am I going crazy, or like, are you also seeing it too? I feel like Jason Dominguez, when the things that you would think he would struggle at because of his profile, he doesn't struggle with. He's actually a lot faster than people give him credit for. He's a great athlete, and he's got an incredible eye, and you think, oh, this guy is just going to swing for the fences. No. He's got an incredible eye, Gary. I think he's got one of the best on the team. So
I would agree.
When you have a guy like that can work counts, and, the slugging isn't quite there right now, yeah, I wouldn't mind leading him off and then put, Trent Grisham in a position where he can actually generate more RBIs instead of leading off. And that same thing goes for, see, how many times have we said, oh, Trent Grisham, solo shot. This is what I'm talking about. Aaron Judge, solo shot. Trent Grisham, solo shot. You got to put these guys in better opportunities to create RBIs. I think that's really what it comes down to. But, yeah, I agree. 100%. I think Jazz Chisholm should be batting 8th or 9th. It's that simple.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and do the Profit X picks.
Yeah.
Because I'm so juiced for this, because this is going to be a new segment. We're going to do it at the end of every show. And, we've got everything. We do. And I see one I love already. It's actually the most popular pick. It's actually Carlos Rodon, total pitching strikeouts, 6.5. I'm taking the over. I'm taking the over. Rodon, and I don't mean to say, okay, this is going to be the quality start that the Yankees perhaps need, but strikeouts, anytime we've said, what is one thing that Rodon has succeeded at the entire season, it's been hunting strikeouts, for better or for worse. And right now it's for better. But when you do that and you stay in the games, because that's really what this is about, is staying in the game. If Rodon stays in this baseball game for more than 5 innings, he's getting over 6.5 Ks. He's getting to that 7th strikeout. I'm taking that at a -125. That is a great pick.
I don't know how you couldn't take it, Gary. He has only missed this once this year. Once. He had 5 strikeouts against Arizona. Every other start, Milwaukee, Detroit, San Francisco, Tampa, Cleveland, he's had more than 7 strikeouts, or at least 7 strikeouts. So 7's all you need. I definitely agree with you there. I 100% think that is a great play. And then I look at Kyle Gibson, total outs recorded. Kyle Gibson, for those of you who don't know, because they finally announced the damn thing, is going to start tomorrow for the Orioles. Okay? His outs recorded is at an over-under of 13.5. I'm going to go with the pick of taking the under, because I think he's going to get shelled tomorrow. I think he's going to get absolutely blitzed. And I think when you look at as to why, he hasn't pitched all year. And I think the Yankees in this game, this is one of those hidden success type of games They had a lot of hidden success. They had double-digit hits today, and they only scored 3 runs. And that was all the while Sugano really just shut them down. So they got after the bullpen. So I think not having a starting pitcher that can generate missed bats like Sugano tomorrow, I think they're going to absolutely run roughshod of Kyle Gibson. I do not think he makes it past the 13.5 outs.
Yeah, I would assume he probably gets pulled in the third, which obviously this is baseball. Baseball's hard, man. Hitting is hard.
Yeah.
It's just predictions, but I will say there needs to be a line on Jazz Chisholm. I don't know what I don't know what it is.
What do we got? Home runs. Kind of like Jazz Chisholm's there.
Nah.
No. Give me Ben Rice if he's in the lineup. He's going to be
No,
pissed
to be
off.
honest with you, I would probably just take Aaron Judge tomorrow. If I'm being
that's
real.
fair. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're getting a pitcher who's not on his P's and Q's. Hasn't pitched at all, not a lick. His command's going to be an issue, which tells me guys are probably going to be on base. That might even include the bottom of our lineup. Well, if the bottom of our lineup is on base and Judge is continuing to hit second in this lineup, well, that leads me to believe he's going to be pitched to aggressively. And when it's Kyle Gibson, so Fishman 432 says Jazz 0 for 5 minus 4,600. Yeah, those are pretty good.
Brutal.
Yeah,
Jazz Gallo. Oh no. Oh, he's got to turn this thing around. It's not looking
our
good.
audience is not high on this player, and I've tried to slow this down by mentioning his defense and obviously what the potential is offensively, but he's got to adjust his game plan. I think that's the takeaway. You can't continue to just do, what is this? Judge got robbed of a home run this year also.
3 in 29 games. Find me another team that has 3 home runs that they've had robbed in 29 games. You can't.
No, but and by the way, guys, if you do make your picks with ProfitX, make sure you guys drop in the code YanksU when you do sign up, and let us know when you are making a pick. It helps us out tremendously. Let us know and tell us what your pick is. Maybe we can go through it on the show. I think that'd be a good time. And
absolutely.
Yeah, and if you find something about Jazz, please let us know, because that is right now that's free money.
I agree. Anything else you want to add, Gary?
Probably just subscribe and like the video. That would probably be the only other 2 things I'd add. But no, great show. I enjoyed myself today. Terrible loss. I thought this game was atrocious until the very end when we started to hit after Tomoyuki came out of this game. He was sensational. He diced us up. It is what it is. That's baseball. We need to flush it. Kyle Gibson on the mound tomorrow. Rodon. This is favorable for the Yankees. We should win.
Yeah. I agree. Did we cover this yet? The super
We
chat?
did not.
Didn't want anything to go by the wayside. BR has inflammation in the elbow. Ben Rice.
Inflammation in the elbow that he got hit on?
Was that... So is he just having issues with it right now? Is that what's happening?
Or it's just random inflammation? I didn't see that, so thank you, Yankees for the win for the super and just letting us know that. Yeah, I'll probably look into it. Obviously, we'll talk about it in the next show. If we don't see him playing tomorrow, then obviously we've got a problem here because he's one of our better hitters. So yeah, that I hope not.
That is true. All right. Well, that's going to do it. How about, because we just had the NFL draft, I want to get everyone's take. Drop your favorite team, your NFL team, in the comments below if you stuck around and watched the video. But yeah, that's going to do it.
And fly, Eagles, fly, and like this video.